Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, across all nations, races, and denominations, what is up? The King of Lightning is here today, bringing you guys and gals a One Piece discussion video about Black Leg Sanji, Kurohashi Sanji. What happened to Sanji based on the latest chapter of One Piece. Now, the next one is coming out sometime later on this week, and that chapter we're going to find out, probably. Can't guarantee that we will, but we probably will. And I want to have this video out before then, obviously. Also, there will be another One Piece discussion video coming out fairly soon that is unrelated to the previous One Piece chapter. So, that being said, alright? This video should have come out earlier, honestly. But a lot of things happened. Number one, there were a lot of comments. A lot of comments to read. And some of these people took it upon themselves to write 2 pages worth of material. And I was like, bro, yo, I don't need this massive backstory about Kaido and Jack and throwing Big Mom. No, I don't need that. Just tell me what you think happened to Sanji, alright? Make it simple, okay? Got 20 words or less. But no, some folks gave me 2,000. I was like, shit. So that took some time to sift through. Then, of course, my PC got messed up. Then I had to get a root canal the other day, which, no. And I'm not done with this. This sucks. And my speech may be a little bit slurred because of this thing, honestly. But if you guys didn't know, it's very good for you to go on my Twitter and follow me on Twitter, because I will update you on a regular basis on Twitter. I don't do it on Facebook, hell no. But Twitter is cakewalk. So if you guys want updates about what's going on with me, Twitter, and there'll be a link in the box below for that. So enough about me, Sanji. All right. First of all, I'm gonna dive right in. What I did was I took a lot of these comments and I generalized them into a few bullet points, because a lot of them went along the same lines. So, number one, Sanji got captured by Jack. Now, this is the one that I am on board with, because to me, I think it does make a degree of sense. Though there is one that I do prefer. This one I believe is the case, but there is one that I do prefer over this one. And this goes along the lines of the reason why he got captured. So either he was protecting the minks from Jack and his, cohorts, so they got overwhelmed by all these Zoans. Sheep was just one of the few dozen Zoans that were there. All of them fairly powerful because they are Zoans under Kaido. Under Kaido's flag, and Kaido being the pinnacle, he's a Yonko, right? He's one of the pinnacle pirates, obviously, in the New World. So, they're not scrubs. And as far as we know, Jack is so powerful to where he has no problems taking on Fujitora, Sengoku, and Surudu, though he did lose, but still he has confidence enough to actually, go and take them on. Either that or he's just batshit crazy. Odds are he's batshit crazy. But we'll find out for sure if when we do see him, legitimately in the story. So either Sanji was protecting the minks, or Sanji deliberately got captured for a hostage exchange, because we know that some of the mink Jack was torturing in those devices. And so Sanji saw this and he said, "Okay, listen, I will exchange myself for these minks. And I'll give you what you want." Because we know that there is something going on with Kaido and the Wano Kuni cats. And as far as we know, Raizo is somewhere on Zou, or there's something involving Raizo. And Raizo, maybe Sanji kind of tricked Jack in saying that I have intel on Raizo, or maybe I'm Raizo, or someone like that. But basically, we know that Jack is looking for someone. That someone's probably Raizo or Kinemon or Momonosuke or whoever, part of the Wano Kuni cats. The reason why, no idea. Now, this segues into something that's very fascinating, if it actually was the case, where Sanji, now captive by Jack, or now he's, Jack's prisoner. Jack tried to obviously get Flamingo. So, what if he tried to get Flamingo via, I have Black Leg Sanji, you have Flamingo, let's do a trade. Like, let's do a trade. Black Leg Sanji for Don Quixote do Flamingo. And Sanji is wanted alive for some strange reason. So maybe it is more or less Jack tried to exchange Sanji for Flamingo. Of course, they failed. Jack, of course, went into combat mode. He lost. And now the Marines, possibly CP0, according to some folks, have Sanji. Then we have the second overall point. Sanji left on his own accord. Now, there are several reasons as to why he would actually do this. The predominant one is that Jack, or whoever, Zoans of Kaido's crew, they captured Momonosuke and or Caesar Clown. Now, Caesar Clown, obviously, being very important to not only Kaido, but also for Big Mom. And Momonosuke important for Kaido. So, obviously, Sanji would want to get back Momonosuke and Caesar Clown. So, that would mean that Sanji is now going on a solo mission to get back Momonosuke, or to retrieve Momonosuke and or Caesar Clown. Now, this would also mean that in the case of Caesar Clown specifically, that Capone somehow came out of nowhere and like took Caesar Clown, and now he's in and he dipped. So Capone, because Capone do want Caesar Clown, so maybe Sanji's going after them. Who knows? But regardless of that, it depends on who's still on the island. Where's Caesar Clown? Where's Momonosuke? Where's Brook? We don't know. All we know is that Chopper and Nami are there. But the other three, no idea. So we're going to find out real soon. And depending on who's there or not, we can deduce, well, maybe Sanji went after Kaido's men from Momonosuke. Maybe he's going after Capone for Caesar Clown. Who knows? Furthermore, this then segues into the bounty issue, where Sanji left on his own accord because of the unique bounty on him. Because the bounty spread across the world fairly quickly. Probably Zoe has, their seagull thing, dropped the newspaper and whatnot. He saw his bounty, only alive. Of course, Sanji, Chopper, Nami, Brook, they would question that, like, what's going on here? Sanji has a secret of some kind. He doesn't want that secret to be revealed, so he pulled like a Water 7 Usopp and said, okay, so, Stride Crew, I'm gone. And he left. So he left on his own accord to take care of whatever's going on with him being only alive when it comes to his bounty. Which would then segue into not only would that segue into a Sanji exclusive arc, but then that would also segue into Jinbei now becoming like the filler position for Sanji in the Straw Hat Pirates. So for all the Jinbei fans out there, Jinbei will take Sanji's spot for a period of time in the main crew. So, I mean, it's possible. That's possible. That one actually, I think, is pretty cool. Like Sanji leaving on his own accord. That's the one I actually like the most. Sanji left on his own accord because of X reason. Now, the next thing, fairly simple. Number 3, Sanji is sick via poisoning from Caesar Clown and or a Kaido Zoan that is poison related, like a puffer fish or a cobra, whatever. And he's poisoned, and he can't be healed for some odd reason because the poison is so toxic or whatever. Chopper can't heal him, therefore they need Law, because Law's just had hacks. And Sanji's there, so he's still there on Zoe, but he's sick, he's poisoned. Which then goes on to the 4th thing, which is kind of the same thing as number 3, but instead of poison, he's heavily wounded. So he's in a coma, or he's heavily wounded because he was the main person defending, the mink from Jack and company. And Jack and company left. They had to leave. This, I think, is actually pretty cool if that actually happens. Because I was wondering, why would Jack want to come back to Zoe if he's heavily wounded? Well, Jack was there initially probably for Raizo or Wano Kuni related stuff involving him and him and Kaido. So the thing here would be, he leaves Zou temporarily because he hears that Flamingo was captured. He lost to Luffy Company. He fails in that mission, but he has to go back to Zou anyway, so he can still find Raizo the ninja. And again, this whole thing with Wano Kuni Kaido, it comes up so often because it's a thing. It's a substantial thing as to why Jack would be there in the first place, and how Wano Kuni, Momonosuke. Well, to be fair, Kinemon, Kanjiro, probably Raizo as well. They're hiding something. There's something going on between Wano Kuni and Kyle that we're still unsure of, and it always crops up here and there. So, the thing here is that Sanji was, again, wounded because he was, of course, fighting all of these guys, and they got overwhelmed. And then this segues into two fascinating things, where the first one being female Zoans, where he can't really deal with females, he can't deal with women, obviously, in the same way he can with men. And there was a woman that was in chapter 795 that appeared, who Sanji did wave at. And they were in a rush for time for some odd reason, which we don't know why, obviously, but they were in a rush for time. And we can say maybe Sanji was thwarted by a powerful Zoan female fighter in Kaido's crew, and therefore he was bested, and he wound up in a very hairy situation. Almost something similar to, like, what's-her-face in CP9. Khalifa. So, something like that. To where Sanji's not incapacitated because of a Zoan ability. Within this subgroup, we have the second thing where Sanji lost his leg in combat. Which, to me, would suck so much as a Sanji fanboy to have Sanji lose one of his legs in combat. I mean, heavily wounded, he lost a fucking leg. Yeah. That would be bad. Wow. Like, that would just... I would be so shell-shocked. Just like... Sanji lost a leg? And of course, people always want to throw it in there because I hated it, but it could be a factor. But there is a possibility that Sanji... he is there and he has massive blood loss because of all the furry chicks. And if that happened, oh god, odds are is that, because I don't think I was going to do that again, seriously. But here's the thing, when it came to Wanda and how she was talking about, like, the dead bodies of your crewmates and whatnot. I mean, again, I think it's Brook. Some folks say Caesar Clown because Caesar Clown has no heart. Therefore, so he would appear to be dead if he's, like, knocked out or whatnot. And then, if you had Sanji lying on the ground, too, because he was losing so much blood on a regular basis because of all these, furry chicks, then that would also equate for being a dead body, I suppose. Whatever. So, I mean, that's possible, but I wouldn't like that, honestly. And then we have the last main bullet point, which is Sanji just flat out died. And when I say died, there's either two things. Either he died, but he's coming back to life somehow, some way. Folks are saying that Brook is keeping his soul in his body. He's keeping his soul from passing on to the next world. Like Brook's doing some crazy shit like that. Or Sanji just flat out died. And he is no longer going to be in the story. Now, if it is the latter, then you're not going to see me for a few months. Just flat out. Just not. Period. If it's the former, interesting. Because actually that'd be fairly fucking interesting if Sanji was kept alive. If his soul was somehow being kept, in his body because Brook was manipulating his soul to that degree. Like, Brook, broken, very broken. So that'd be fascinating. And then hopefully that wouldn't turn out to be like a whole, DBZ, Dragon Ball bullshit. But as long as they can maintain a constant sense of danger, that would be nice. But, if Brook could actually keep one soul in their place, even if they were dead or on the verge of death, that would be just like crazy on Brook's part. So, all in all, these are the theories that I heard about what happened to Sanji. Some are fairly fascinating. Some are really, 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 really far out there. And at the end of the day, it's up to Oda. So One Piece is coming back this week. We'll see what happens or what happened to Sanji, and we'll go from there. So I will see you guys again for another One Piece discussion video fairly soon, and I am out. So King Lightning, rate the video, comment, and subscribe as always. Have a nice goddamn day.